Delta State Special Offences Court Amendment Bill passes second reading. Organized labor rejects the minimum wage of 57,000 naira offered by the federal government. Abroad, United States of America expresses dismay at growing diplomatic isolation. Good evening and welcome to the Delta Television News at 8. I am Ogaga Ikama. The Delta State Special Offences Court Amendment Bill has passed second reading at the floor of the State Assembly. The Majority Leader, Honorable Emeka Amowobi, moved a motion for the second reading, seconded by the Deputy Majority Leader, Honorable Festus Oko. Favour Okafor has details.
Presenting his submission to the House on the merits of the amendments sought on the bill, Honorable Amowobi stated that, based upon the meeting of the Nigerian Governors Forum (NGF) held on October 18, 2023, it had necessitated the need to establish a dedicated mobile specialist call to address issues of sexual and gender-based violence and child abuse in the state. He said the establishment of the court cannot be overemphasized, as the state government has domesticated several national legislations on the matters of prohibition of gender-based violence and child's right. He said the amendment only sought to expand on an already existing law by adding sexual offences.
Excellency the Governor deemed it necessary to amend the principal law to bring in courts, two different courts, one to be presided over by the magistrate and the other one high court, to try that special offences.
Other lawmakers who spoke in favor of the bill unanimously opined that the amendment will not only bring about sanity, but also speed up justice.
What this bill intends to do is to make sure that there's sanity in our society.
Speaker and dear colleagues, that the very fact that the state government has considered it important to speed up the process of judicial administration respect of matters of this nature.
Having enjoyed a unanimous support from lawmakers, the Speaker, the Right Honourable Emomotimi Gwon, then referred the bill to the House Joint Committees on Rules, Business and Judiciary, as well as the Special Committee on Bills for further legislative action. Favour Okafor reporting.
Degrading the environment, as well as those which promote the breeding of microorganisms that cause diseases. The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Environment, Dr. Minio Oseji, gave the advice while delivering a lecture at the Federal Medical Center, FMC, Asaba. Violet Monye reports.
In the lecture with the theme, Healthy Planet, Healthy People, Dr. Oseji said the world was already witnessing the effects of environmental degradation on the health of the people. She cited air pollution, climate change, deforestation, water contamination, and the manifestation of dangerous and unhealthy chemicals in the soil and in foods, adding that this mismanagement of the environment had caused ailments and conditions that took people to the hospitals. Dr. Oseji enjoined families to clean up their environment, change the source of energy in their homes, and eat more vegetables while forming the habit of reusing and recycling products, among other health tips.
People don't seem to understand how important caring for the planet is. And the United Nations proposes the following actions for the healthy planet Earth. First, save energy at home. Change your home source of energy. Walk, bike, or take public transport.
A medical practitioner, Dr. Dele Ogufowoka, in a speech, said family physicians played a vital role in promoting a healthier environment towards keeping the people healthy, and underscored the need for government at all levels to collaborate with government and non-government bodies, the medical community and other stakeholders, as well as the general public, in promoting health equity, disease prevention and comprehensive care. The occasion, which was chaired by the State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Joseph Onojame, drew stakeholders from the environment and medical sectors and a cross-section of the public. Violet Moyi reporting.
A total of 5,426 petty traders artisans and female entrepreneurs in Delta, including persons from poor and vulnerable households, have benefited from the More Grant scheme of Governor Sheriff Oborevwori. Ejime Udweme reports.
A total of 5,426 petty traders, artisans, and female entrepreneurs in Delta State, including persons from poor and vulnerable households, have benefited from the More Grant scheme of Governor Sheriff Oborevwori. Speaking at the formal launch of the More Grant scheme at Event Center Asaba, Governor Oborevwori said the initiative was a comprehensive support system that would empower 1,600 petty traders, 1,826 artisans, and 2,000 female entrepreneurs across the state. Governor Oborevwori said the state was rich in talent and other businesses and commended the artisans, traders, and entrepreneurs for being the unsung heroes of the state's local economies. He noted that the More Grant scheme represented a beacon of hope and a catalyst for positive change, as the program provided critical resources that will help them scale up their businesses and improve their livelihood. The governor gave assurance that the program will continue to provide Deltans with the financial assistance necessary to improve their businesses, while expressing commitment to turning small ventures into flourishing enterprises. He charged the artisans to use their skills, craftsmanship, and dedication to preserve the state's cultural heritage through creative innovation for sustainable living, and urged the female entrepreneurs to remain embodiment of strength and innovation. Governor Oborevwori assured the beneficiaries that the state would offer them workshops, training sections, and mentorship programs to equip them with the knowledge and skills needed to succeed in the competitive markets.
The grant is being given out today will help you to acquire better tools, access quality materials, and reach wider markets, which will in turn take the rich traditions of our people to a new heights.
In her remarks, the Commissioner for Humanitarian Affairs, Community Support Services, and Girl Child Development, Ms. Orode Udwanga, said the project was anchored on 3 phases, with each carefully designed to empower specific segments of the state for over 5,000 beneficiaries.
For the third and equally vital phase is the More Grant for female entrepreneurs who run really small businesses. This opportunity aims not only to bridge the gender gap, but to amplify the voices and successes of our female entrepreneurs, fostering a more equitable and prosperous future for all.
Speakers at the event, Weimi Eribo and Nneka Ukekaro, affirmed that human capital development was a platform to break the genes of poverty, and lauded the governor for providing resources to grow small and medium-scale enterprises. They pledged to partner the state government through their agencies to mentor young entrepreneurs from the More Grant scheme on ways to grow their businesses to become large-scale establishments. Some of the beneficiaries, including Mr. Paul Onwoche, Ugemuno Endurance, and Shodikpe Bubemi, thanked Governor Oborevwori for providing money for them to expand their businesses and called on him to sustain the program to pave way for more Deltans to benefit.
And we promise that by this time next year, with the amount we are getting today, we'll be employers of labor.
Highlight of the event was the presentation of checks to some of the beneficiaries drawn from the over 5,000 persons. Ejime Uduime reporting.
The Delta State Orientation Bureau has commended the federal government over the recent ban on Nigerian movies showcasing money rituals, smoking, and other social vices which has characterized the Nollywood movies in Nigeria. the Chief Executive Officer of the Bureau, Dr. Latimer Ogenesiwe, made the recommendation in Lagos while speaking to newsmen on DSOB's planned sensitization campaigns against moral decadence and dishonesty, saying that money ritual and social vices scenes in movies contributed significantly to the incessant wave of criminality and moral decay in society. Dr. Ogenesiwe noted that majority of Nigerian movies are centered around money rituals or other get-rich-quick storylines that have consistently infringed on the country's moral values, good conscience, and hard work, adding that the ban on such movies showcasing social vices would help in no small measure in reversing the ugly trend and to chart a new course of action towards a better and productive society. He commended the Director General of Nigerian Film and Video Censors Board, Dr. Shaibu Hussaini, for championing the reform process leading to the ban by the federal government, while urging him not to rest in his oars. As the 2024 Cognitive and Placement Examination for Primary 6 students hold on Saturday, the State Commissioner for Primary Education, Dr. Kingsley Ashiborgu, has warned persons who indulge in examination racketeering to stay away from any of the examination centers across the state. Dr. Ashiborgu, who gave the warning in a statement in Asaba, also urged parents and guardians to stay away from the examination centers. He said anyone not involved in the conduct of the examination but seen within the examination centers would be arrested and treated as an examination fraudster. Dr. Ashiborgu stated that the Ministry of Primary Education has put measures in place to ensure the smooth conduct of the examination. The Commissioner said he would lead officials of the ministry, including the Permanent Secretary in the Ministries of Primary and Secondary Education, Mr. Augustine Ogoro, to monitor the examination. Dr. Ashiborgu, however, reiterated the ministry's determination to ensure timely conduct of examinations and wished candidates success in the examination. President Bola Tinubu has called for the strengthening of regional economic communities to drive integration and trade ties among African nations in order to deepen democracy and accelerate development across the continent. President Tinubu, who made a call during the summit on the state of democracy in Africa in Abuja, called for revitalization of sub-regional blocks like the Economic Community of West African States (ECOWAS), East African Community (EAC), and Southern African Development Community (SADC) as vehicles to usher in an era of robust intra-African commerce, economic growth, and job creation. The president, who was represented at the event by Vice President Kashim Shettima, said the immense potential of the African Continental Free Trade Area (AFTA) could only be maximally realized when there was concrete economic integration and collaboration at the different sub-regional levels. He said through bitter experience, Nigeria has learned that the solution to poor democratic governance is to have more democracy. President Tinubu urged the regional bodies to prioritize minimizing trade barriers, promoting sustainable and inclusive economic growth, human capital development, as well as value addition in agriculture and agro-allied sectors. He noted that a reinvigorated sub-regional cooperation is critical for the successful implementation of the path-breaking AFTA by harmonizing rules and regulations to facilitate the free movement of goods, services, and people. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has directed a total and comprehensive review of the recently announced governing boards of tertiary institutions in Nigeria before the inauguration and retreat being planned for the nominees. This was disclosed today by the President's Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, in a State House statement titled, President Tinubu Directs Comprehensive Review of Governing Boards of Tertiary Institutions. Mr. Ononuga said the nominations did not reflect the federal character of the country, as some states got just one nomination, while some others got many. President Tinubu had approved the appointments of at least 455 persons to serve as pro-chancellors, chairmen, and members of governing boards of 111 federal universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education. This followed his assent to a list of nominees selected by the Ministry of Education. The federal government said it is deploying an automated border management solutions across its vast borders in order to tackle cross-border banditry and irregular migration. Minister of Interior Dr. Olubunmi Tunji Ojo disclosed this in Abuja shortly after inspecting the e-border management center as well as the command and control center for the electronic gates at the airports. According to him, while the e-border project was over 60% completed, the e-gates command and control center is now 100% completed and awaiting commissioning by President Bola Tinubu. Both centers are domiciled in the Nigerian Immigration Service NIS headquarters in Abuja. On the commissioning of Command and Control Center for the e-gates, the minister said the project was already completed and would soon be commissioned. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mr. Mohammed Idris, has launched the Nigerian National Information Portal as the official digital gateway to comprehensive information about Nigeria. The minister, who launched the portal at the commencement of the ministerial sectorial briefings to mark the first anniversary of Tinubu administration, said the portal serves as a centralized source for both local and international audiences, providing reliable and up-to-date information on various aspects of the nation, including the government, the people of Nigeria, their cultural heritage, and many more. He said it was a gateway to all the information required to know about the government, Nigeria, its people, and cultures. The link to the portal is www.nigeria.gov.ng. The minister said the president has started laying a solid and enduring foundation that would make life better for the people of Nigeria. He said the landmark initiatives like the Consumer Credit Corporation, the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, Presidential Initiative on Compressed Natural Gas, the 200 billion naira presidential grant and loan scheme, the agriculture and food security efforts, including the launch of dry season farming and massive fertilizer distribution, the Renewed Hope Infrastructure Development Fund, among others, were some of the many policies and programs that would directly touch and improve the lives and livelihoods of tens of millions of Nigerians. Mr. Idris expressed the commitment of President Tinubu to ensuring the cost of living and doing business in Nigeria was brought down significantly by putting more money into the pockets of Nigerians, attracting more local and foreign investment, and transforming the nation's infrastructure. The organized labor comprising the Nigeria Labour Congress NLC and the Trade Union Congress TUC has again rejected the federal government's new offer of 57,000 naira minimum wage. The organized labor rejected the government's fresh offer, the third proposal, in about a week when negotiation talks resumed yesterday. However, the NLC and the TUC shifted ground from their initial 615,000 naira to 497,000 naira. The member of the Tripartite Committee for the negotiation of a new minimum wage for Nigerian workers told newsmen that the federal government and the organized private sector side of the talks proposed a 57,000 naira monthly minimum wage as against the 54,000 naira they proposed on Tuesday when the committee resumed the negotiations. The government had initially proposed 48,000 naira last week, which was also rejected by the organized labor. The organized labor also saw reasons to drop their demand from the initial 615,000 naira minimum wage to 497,000 naira. They had pulled out of the negotiation last week, accusing the government and private sector of showing unwillingness to agree on a new minimum wage. At the resumption of the negotiations on Tuesday, the NLC and the TUC also rejected the new proposal of 54,000 naira minimum wage by the government. The committee is here to agree on a new minimum wage just about 10 days before the May 31 deadline the labor unions gave to the government to conclude the negotiations. The House of Representatives Committee on Corporate Social Responsibility (CSR) has summoned electricity distribution companies DISCOs and generation companies GENCOs over failure to perform their corporate social responsibility commitments in host communities. The committee expressed displeasure over the failure of the chief executive officers of DISCOs and GENCOs to honor its invitations. A member of the committee, Honorable Obiageli Orobo disclosed this in Abuja during an investigation into the compliance of the discos to corporate social responsibility requirements in their host communities. The lawmaker lashed at the discos for sending junior managers to represent them without a written authorization, adding that it was disrespectful for GENCOs not to send representatives. She also frowned at their failure to submit their 5-year audited accounts and detailed information on the corporate social responsibility activities carried out within their host communities. Honorable Orobo ordered the clerk of the committee, Mr. Emmanuel Chukwu, to send another summons to the discos and GENCOs to appear at a date in June. She stated that failure to honor the invitation would compel the committee to take appropriate measures to force them to appear before it. The House of Representatives has passed a bill to revert to the old national anthem, Nigeria, We Hail Thee. The bill was quickly passed through first, second, and third reading within minutes. The lead debate for a return to the old anthem by the House leader, Professor Julius Ohonwebe, pointed to the need for Nigerians to see the anthem as a national symbol and sign of authority, one which does not deny the realities. The old anthem, Nigeria, We Hail Thee, was replaced with the current one, Arise, O Compatriots, in 1978. The minority leader, Honorable Kingsley Chinda, however, opposed the bill, saying the old anthem has a colonial tag, which was the reason for the new anthem. He highlighted that the old anthem was authored and composed by Britons. Honorable Chinda questioned the importance of the anthem change at a time of more important challenges in the country. However, the bill was given expedited passage and subsequently passed by the lawmakers. The Kano State House of Assembly has dissolved all the 5 emirate councils in the state, saying Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf has the sole power to appoint new emirs. This was sequel to deliberations on the floor of the House during today's plenary. The Kano State Emirate Council Amendment Bill was considered on the floor of the House after scaling second and third readings this morning. Earlier, the Deputy Speaker, Alhaji Mohammed Bello Butu Butu, explained that repealing the law would revive the lost glory of Kano, as the division of Kano Emirate to 5 reduced the capacity and dignity of the state at national level. The majority leader, Alhaji Lawan Dala, said the Emirate Council served as a custodian of culture, which was distorted by the creation of additional emirates. Speaking to journalists, Alhaji Dala explained that with the amendment of the law, all the 5 emirate councils were abolished, while the Commissioner for Local Governments would serve as the overseer. The House also adopted a motion to create a new second-class emirate council in the state. Still to come, United States of America expresses dismay at growing diplomatic isolation. Details of this and more coming up shortly.
Where's Glory?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Glow! Where Glow now?
I take you.
Glow, don't go village. Tell all our customer.
Everybody pay attention. See, now Glow berekete 10x. Now they dash me 10 times the credits when I load. Or even summer me double data join.
Yeah. Wait, so with 1.5 when they give all of us, so you they enjoy up to 15,000 naira credit and data.
And I say I never finish you. See now say we enjoy if I join Glow berekete 10x. Una go get 1,000 naira welcome credit. You just carry your phone, dial *777#. Finish.
Correct.
Glow, you don't win. You don't do.
Una still dey here. Hello, please, I'm looking for Glow.
We said now Glow be dey fine. Now Glow be dey go.
Okay, so
enjoy 10 times the value of your recharge on Glow Berekete 10X. You also get 1,000 naira for calls and data and double data bonus on your subscription.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us on the news. The global scene is next as we join our world news desk.
The United States of America has expressed concerns over Israel's growing diplomatic isolation. According to President Joe Biden's National Security Advisor, Mr. Jake Sullivan, Israel was being isolated among countries that have traditionally supported it. Mr. Sullivan said this in yesterday's press briefing at the White House following Ireland, Spain, and Norway's decision to formally recognize Palestine as a state next week. He also recalled a decision by the International Criminal Court (ICC) to seek for an arrest warrant for Israel's Prime Minister, Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, over Israeli actions in Gaza. The French President, Mr. Emmanuel Macron, has described rioting in the French Pacific territory of New Caledonia as an unprecedented insurrection movement that no one saw coming. During a tour of police headquarters in the capital today, Mr. Macron said the coming days and weeks would be difficult, but affirmed that Paris would go all out to restore calm. 6 people, including 2 police officers, have been killed and hundreds wounded in riots, looting, and arson triggered by a controversial electoral reform. New Caledonia, a group of islands between Australia and Fiji, has been a French territory since the 19th century. Tensions had been high for some time between the central government in Paris and indigenous Kanaks, who make up about 40% of the tiny archipelago. Kanak protesters fear that a new law giving voting rights to French residents who have lived there for more than 10 years will dilute the influence of the indigenous population. However, the violence that began on May 13 is the worst unrest since the 1980s. A state of emergency had been imposed, and President Macron had said that a 3,000-strong force deployed from France would remain even during the Paris Summer Olympics if required. Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi, who died in a helicopter crash at the weekend, is to be laid to rest at the city's shrine of Imam Reza, the 8th Imam of Shia Islam. High-ranking representatives of friendly states are expected to attend, including Russia's parliamentary leader Vyacheslav Volodin. Iran's state railway company had organized special trains to take mourners from Tehran to the northeastern city. There had been several ceremonies and public displays of mourning for Raisi, late Foreign Minister Hossein Amirabdollahian, and other victims of Sunday's crash. Millions of mourners flocked to a funeral procession in Tehran yesterday. It was reported that Raisi and Amirabdollahian died in the crash with 7 other occupants of the ill-fated helicopter. They went down in dense clouds in the mountains while traveling back from a meeting with the president of Azerbaijan, Mr. Ilham Aliyev. Iran's religious leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, had ordered 5 days of national mourning, and a nationwide holiday was held yesterday. Mr. Raisi's death had provoked mixed reactions in Iran. While supporters of the country's Islamic regime had mourned the loss of an important political figure, critics had highlighted the heightened repression his administration oversaw.
Ahead of the maiden edition of the Delta Broadcasting Service DBS Asaba Children's Cultural Carnival, the general manager of the station, Mrs. Christine Jobame Emetulu, has assured sponsors and partners that the organization was poised to deliver a top-notch ceremony. Henry Usiayo reports.
Mrs. Jobame Emetulu said the maiden edition of the DBS Children's Cultural Carnival will give sponsors and partners the opportunity to showcase their products and services. The general manager noted that Indomie Noodle was a household name in the country, and their partnership with the station for the carnival will be beneficial to all.
So I believe too that you are also in good stead to be partnering with us. From the schools that have registered, have bought into it, we already have about 500 students here. So know the mileage that's going to give to you. So leaving the carnival, they are not going to be talking of any other noodles brand, but they are going to be singing Indomie, Indomie, Indomie. You can be sure of that.
The area marketing manager in charge of Asaba and Onitsha, Mr. Emmanuel Ngobodo, said Dofi Prima Foods was happy to identify with the station.
We are here because of the upcoming event that is going to take place here, the carnival, cultural carnival that is going to take place here. So we are one of the sponsors in Indomie, which we have gotten approval. So that's why we are here, to check how it's going to be and also to meet the authorities and get to know. Thank you very much.
The general manager later took the Dofi Prima Food teams to see the level of preparedness ahead of the carnival. Henry Usiayu reporting.
Of the Directorate of Project Monitoring and Audit have been advised to improve the workforce of the Directorate to justify the money spent on projects by the state government. The Special Advisor to the Governor on Project Monitoring, Mr. Goodnews Agui, gave the advice during a one-day capacity building program organized in his office in Asaba. Vivian Ikechika reports.
The Special Advisor to the Governor on Project Monitoring, Mr. Goodnews Agui, gave the advice during a one-day capacity building program organized in his office in Asaba. Mr. Agui said the essence of the training was to equip staff with more knowledge and improve their skills in their field of endeavor. He noted that many projects had been executed by the state government, saying with the training, participants would be acquainted with knowledge on how to monitor and audit projects efficiently and effectively.
In terms of quality is very usual. Most of the time you see contractors where they have mismate of 124 or 136, they go and do 158 and so forth. Why are they doing that? To make maximum profit to the detriment of the Delta State EDAs. Our own is to prevent such a thing. We are also aware that even during the course of our monitoring, there's a contractor, a project, the length of project that's supposed to be 3.2 kilometers. They arrive, we checked it and we found out that it is less than 1.2 kilometers. And they will go and claim this money from the government. Two things are wrong here. One, they don't do it to specification. They cheated the Delta State government and also cheated the Delta State people. Our role, like that of the EFCC or police, drawing analogy, which might not exactly be that, but our role is akin to that, to be sure that these jobs that the government is giving out or the state is giving out for the good of the state, for the good of the people of Delta State, are delivered according to the specification, according to the drawings, according to the payment.
The Special Advisor enjoined the participants to imbibe the tenets of proper monitoring and put the knowledge gained to good use. The Permanent Secretary in the Directorate of Project Monitoring and Audit, Mrs. Patricia Esejo, said the workshop was timely and necessary. Speakers at the workshop dwelt on structural and civil engineering, project management, roles and duties in various monitoring units, and background of project management, citing road construction as a case study.
Of improvement, address deviation promptly, communicate findings to stakeholders.
They noted that it was imperative that the Directorate worked in synergy with the House of Assembly to put up a permanent bill for project monitoring, emphasizing the need for some workshops. Some of the participants expressed satisfaction with the training and lauded the Directorate for the training, which they said would help improve their skills. The workshop with the theme Effective Project Monitoring and Audit featured interactive sessions.
Center for the Promotion of Public Enterprise (CPPE) has called on the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) to expedite the window of development finance for businesses to mitigate the effect of the high monetary policy rate in the country. He noted that the businesses need the single-digit interest rate to drive the Nigerian economy. Director General of the CPPE, Dr. Muda Yusuf, shared his insight in an interview with CNBC Africa yesterday. According to Dr. Yusuf, the aggressive interest rate by the CBN is stifling investment and affecting the capacity of the economy to grow. Recently on Tuesday, the CBN raised the MPR rate by 150 basis points to 26.25% from 24.75%. This is the third time in 2024 the Apex Bank is raising its rate as it continues its hawkish policy to rein in inflation. Meanwhile, the CPPE boss believes these measures need to be mitigated with an opening of a development finance window to allow businesses to access single-digit loans from the bank. Mr. Yusuf explained that this measure will allow businesses to access both cheaper and long-term loans and enable them to invest more in the economy. International Breweries has announced that it has received approval from the Securities Exchange Commission (SEC) to proceed with its proposed rights issue. This was contained in the company's notice to the Nigerian Exchange Limited, seen by Nairametrics. International Breweries has been facing escalating losses over the past half-decade. Despite revenue growth, the company recorded an unaudited pre-tax loss of 87.64 billion naira for 2023, a significant increase from the 26.84 billion naira pre-tax loss reported in FY 2022. In response to its financial difficulties, International Breweries has initiated a strategic plan to address its debt burden. At its extraordinary general meeting on April 15, 2024, the company proposed and received approval for a shareholder convertible loan of $379.9 million from AB InBev Nigerian Holdings BV to repay the Citibank loan. The funds from the shareholder loan will be used for any shares subscribed to by AB InBev Nigerian Holdings BV in the company's rights issue, which has been approved by the shareholders. The 22nd edition of the National Sports Festival will hold in January next year at the MKO Abiola Stadium, Abeokuta. The National Council on Sports sitting in Enugu revealed this in a communique after its meeting yesterday. According to the National Council on Sports, the event, which was earlier scheduled to hold October this year, had to be shifted to enable the hosts finish its facilities as well as ensuring a better condition during the games. The council said the month of October was no longer feasible as the rains would still be falling and this could disrupt the games, asserting the month of January was apt as it would still be during the dry season. In another development, the National Youth Games to be hosted by the state at the 7th Stephen Keshi International Stadium, Asaba, will hold in September. The body said the games would hold between the first and second week of September to enable students to resume their studies with their schoolmates while commending Delta State for putting everything in place to host the annual Cadet Sports Fiesta. Team Delta, who has won the last 7 editions, would be hoping to maintain its dominance in the grassroots sports program as they look to claim an unprecedented 8th edition. Ademola Lookman has been nominated for the UEFA Europa League Player of the Week. The Nigerian international scored a superb hat-trick in Atalanta's 3-0 victory over Bayern Leverkusen yesterday night. 2 of his teammates, David Zappacosta and Ederson, were also nominated for the award. Also in contention for the award is Bayern Leverkusen defender Piero Hincapié. It would be recalled that Lookman won the award in Atalanta's semi-final victory against Olympique Marseille. The 26-year-old winger registered a goal and an assist in the second leg. Over now to the thought for the day. Happiness is the only thing that multiplies when you share it. And to end the news, here again are the highlights. The Delta State Special Offences Court Amendment Bill has passed second reading at the floor of the State Assembly. The Majority Leader, Honorable Emeka Iwobi, moved a motion for the second reading, seconded by Deputy Majority Leader, Honorable Festus Oko. The Organized Labour, comprising the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) and the Trade Union Congress (TUC), has again rejected the federal government's new offer of 57,000 naira minimum wage. The Organized Labour rejected the government's fresh offer, the third proposal in about a week, when negotiation talks resumed yesterday. However, the NLC and the TUC shifted ground from their initial 615,000 naira to 497,000 naira. And abroad, the United States of America has expressed concerns over Israel's growing diplomatic isolation. According to President Joe Biden's National Security Advisor, Mr. Jake Sullivan, Israel was being isolated among countries that had traditionally supported it. That's the news. Thank you so much for watching. I am Ogaga Ikama. Good evening.